Chapter 3, page 18. The woods were never completely quiet. Even in silence, there would be a whisper, a soft change that told something. If you listened, complete quiet could speak worlds. Samuel had gone 5 ridges away from home, hunting, feeling the woods. Something was off. If not wrong, then different. The woods felt strange, as if something had changed or was about to change. Samuel shrugged off the feeling and kept going. It was hard to measure distance because the ridges varied in height and width, and the forest canopy blocked out the sun. He was hunting bear, so he moved slowly and followed the aimless game trails looking for signs of life. 5 ridges going in a straight line might have meant 4 or 5 miles. The wandering path he followed probably covered more like 7 or 8. He had seen no fresh sign until he came halfway up the 5th ridge, a thickly forested round hump shaped like the back of a giant animal. Then he saw fresh bear droppings, still steaming, filled with berry seeds and grass stems, and he slowed his pace through the thick undergrowth until he came to the top of the ridge. To his surprise, the trees were gone and he could see miles in all directions. He had hunted this direction many times, but had never reached this ridge before. The thick undergrowth in the summer and early fall had kept him from seeing this high point. He was amazed to find that below him on the western side of the ridge lay a small valley, perhaps half a mile long and a quarter mile wide. The graceful chain of round meadows and lush grass was already perfect farmland. The treeless patch just needed rail fencing and a cabin to be complete. Perfect, he said aloud, like it was made to be used. A crunching noise to his rear to the east brought him around. The bear was 40 or so yards away, a yearling, slope-shouldered, dark brown more than black. Like a large dog, it was digging in a rotten stump on the edge of the clearing. Samuel cocked his rifle, raised it, then held. He looked above the bear across the tops of the trees. Smoke. Thick clouds of smoke were rising to the east, almost straight to the east, a goodly distance away. Forest fire? But it wasn't that dry, and there had been no thunderstorms, the normal cause of forest fires. Then he remembered that their neighbor Overton was going to burn limbs and brush from trees he had felled and cleared. The direction and distance looked about right for the settlement. The bear moved, stood, and looked at him, then dropped and was gone without Samuel's firing. Another missed kill. The smoke was in the right direction and at the probable distance, but there was something wrong with it, the way there had been something wrong with the feel of the woods today. He eased the hammer down on his rifle and lowered the butt to the ground. He stood leaning on it, studying the smoke the way he would read sign from a wounded animal, trying to see the why of it. The gray smudge was wide, not just at the base, but as it rose up, too wide for a single pile of slash. That could be explained by wind blowing the smoke around. But it was still clear day. All right, he thought, so Overton set fire to the slash and it spread into some grass, and that made it wider. But the grass in the settlement area had been grazed to the ground by the livestock, and what was left was still green and hard to burn, and would not make a wide smoke. Would not make such a dark, wide smoke that it could be seen from how far? Maybe 8 miles. Smoke that would show the dark and that wide from 8 miles away on a clear, windless day had to be intentional. He frowned, looking at the smoke, willing it to not be what was coming into his mind like a dark snake, a slithering horror. Some kind of attack. No, he shook his head. No. There had been years of peace. Even with the war, a real war, starting back east in the towns and cities, it would not have come out here so soon. It had only been a week since they'd heard the news. It could not come this soon. But even as he thought this, his mind was calculating. Distance home, 8 miles in the thick forest. Time until dark, an hour, hour and a half. No moon. It would be hard dark. Could he run 8 miles an hour through the woods in the dark? It would be like running blind. An attack. Had there been an attack on the settlement, on his home? He started running down the side of the ridge. Not a crazy run, but working low and slipping into the game trails, automatically looking for a turn or shift that would take him more directly home. Home. An attack on his home. An attack on his mother and father? And he had not been there to help. Deep breaths, hard and deep pulls of air as he increased his speed, moccasins slapping the ground, rifle held out in front of him to move limbs out of the way as he loped through the forest. The green thickness that once helped him now seemed to clutch at him, pull him back, hold him. An attack. And he had not been there to protect his parents.